Welcome back to Third Pedal Podcast, episode number 6.
Six.
We're on number 6.
Yep.
Wow.
Dad say 6. We said 6 3 times.
6.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, cool. We're good.
Almost just so we all know
number
what
six.
episode
Cancel
we're on.
it out.
Got a little bit possessed there.
So we're in a different location today. We are at Tyler's place, a.k.a. the Ginger Husky recording studio.
Yeah.
If you want to talk a little bit about that, what do you do?
Sure. So on the side of my full-time job, I currently stream on Twitch and Facebook and make videos on YouTube and Twitter. Kind of do everything right now. But yeah, I just stream video games and also do like just chatting and just kind of hang out and trying to build a cool community of people. So you guys can check me out there. The name is Ginger Husky with a 1 instead of the I. So give me a follow those places if you're into all sorts of different video games or if you just want to catch up. I even talk about cars on stream too. So you can find me there.
All right.
Seems like a conflict of interest. You can't talk about cars on there.
I can't.
We need to not compete against
Bet.
our.
Yeah, Taylor, we need to talk about that a little bit. No, I wish you could
Cut
see
the
it on the
camera, cut the
camera
camera.
because the gaming setup right outside the frame is
Is
pretty
legit.
Pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
pretty
granite
awesome.
table.
Yeah.
All matching Corsair stuff. It's dope.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Went a-
post a photo of it or something.
Went a little overboard on it, but you know.
It was like it's kind of like when you add up the car. Like I've done this on my 944 before, and it's very depressing to be like, oh, I wonder how much money I put in this car,
Yeah.
and then to go through all that, and then you're like, oh, that's so much more than the car's worth. And like you, like when we were over here last time, and you're like, yeah, I wonder how much money I put into the setup, and you're just kind of going through it like,
Oh.
like
Yeah.
Ooh.
I didn't realize how much it was
I
until
won't
like
disclose the number. but-
finally. Yeah, it was more than I wanted it to be. Let's just say that. But I mean, it's been like probably 2 years in the making, so it's not crazy, but it's
Yeah.
enough.
If you're going to do it right.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
That's the mantra you've raised us with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I know we wrapped up last episode with Dad. You were talking about a story, I think, with a radio jammer or something like that.
Oh, real quick
yeah.
before we hop into that, we missed a big part of why we're here right now.
Oh,
Because it's true that it's your studio, but you've got other news to share too, which is super exciting.
Oh yeah. So I became a dad last week.
Yeah.
Very suddenly. It was baby showed up 2 weeks early, which was a welcome surprise. We got to the birthing center within 7 minutes of baby being born, so it was
Awesome.
kind of get close.
just in time.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, so I've been very tired, but super blessed. Baby's been absolutely awesome. My wife's absolutely killing it with her. And we're just kind of getting used to being a little family now. And it's also real bizarre. Like now, you know, taking care of a little human. It's wild, but loving every
Good.
moment of it.
Yep, so we're
Awesome.
camped out in his basement. So if he needs to leave, take care of baby for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have that
If he
option.
dashes out, we know why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's on the end. He's got the escape route.
Yeah.
But anyway, so sorry, you were talking about.
Yeah. So
issues.
there was the, I think how we wrapped up last podcast. You were talking about a guy with a radio jammer, or you mentioned in the podcast something like that.
I said save it for next time. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this
So,
is
yeah.
next time.
This is next time. We are here. Yeah. The other thing I want to do is correct a really terrible mistake I had made.
Oh, boy.
I feel silly. I don't even want to say senior moment because I'm not that far.
You're a grandpa now. So.
Yeah, I am a grandpa now, but
Yeah.
I was mentioning stories last time about Essington Road and
Mm-hmm.
and some of the stuff, and there's just a couple things I wanted to correct. I guess one is it wasn't Essington Road.
So it wasn't even the road.
Just the
That was a road to get there, but
Oh.
and there were some things happening on Essington Road every once in a while. It went, 38 years ago. Wow, was there? It wasn't like it is now with all the residential areas and whatnot. It was out in the cornfields, and but that Essington Road led to 52, which led over to Hobart Road. That was the road.
Oh, okay.
Hobart Road is the one that goes out in front of Joe Junior College and all that, and then leads to Rock Run, which we didn't talk about Rock Run. Maybe
No.
that's some other time when we want to talk about trucks and big 4-wheel drives. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was an awesome place to go, and where I broke the front axle of my Blazer in half jumping it, and we can save that story. But and the other thing, I kind of implied that the cops told us to go down and race, and
Yeah.
I don't want to. I have the utmost respect for our police forces and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they did not tell us that. It was just kind of an unspoken, understood thing that they didn't.
You're like, do it here safely.
It's like
kind of
they
a thing.
kind of knew that we were down there, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I just wanted to make that.
So they weren't like
clear.
facilitating the races.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I pictured it. Was like
Yeah, and I
Officer
realized
Ron
after
here,
I watched
he's
the
like,
episode.
"Dude, you ready?
Yeah,
Go."
Using his police flashlight.
right.
Ready.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted
Shoots
to
the
make
gun,
sure
ready,
that
Yeah.
start.
kind of sounded like I was implying that they were almost facilitating it. And, anyway,
So it wasn't quite
there-
the wild West back in the
not
back in the
not
day.
that wild.
You're not
no.
that old.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Wasn't like Mad Max racing on the highways or
Yeah.
whatever.
But no, so,
So,
this
so
radio jammer
Back
story.
to the hobbyist. Yeah, this guy. I'm going to generalize the story for
Smart.
probably many people's sakes, but anyway,
Wait, can I just say something real quick?
sure.
The hobbyist is the coolest name for someone. I feel like it's like when they're in the secret movies or the secret agent movies, and you have like the specialist, and it's like flashes like the hobbyist.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
blacklist
yeah.
episode, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, absolutely.
Obvious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But he
it does.
doesn't do
You're right,
anything
you're
bad.
right.
He just has a lot of projects that he doesn't finish.
right.
I'm still working
Oh,
on that
funny.
turbo swap.
hmm So yeah, this was a pretty neat and interesting story. There was a ham radio, Heathkit kind of dude in a town in the Midwest, we'll say, and he was challenged at some point in one of the club meetings to. He was kind of bragging about, and then subsequently challenged, saying he could build a radar jammer from parts from Radio Shack when Radio Shack was still a thing. That kind of dates me as well. Used to work there, college job, and he did it. He built a jammer and used it, and then, obviously the radars and stuff the police used back then were way different technology, not laser based, and so on. But yeah, he did it. Cruised up and down a unnamed highway in the Midwest, and proved that it worked. And then the story gets very interesting after that, because apparently our government and agencies that look for illegal frequencies and radio communications and whatnot happen to be scanning the area for that at the time. And this is as the story goes. And he by the time he supposedly ran this circuit and took the whatever it was 12 minutes to get back to his driveway, there was already a black Suburban waiting for him.
Oh, wow.
And then the rest of the story goes that, mysteriously he was not seen again, so to speak. His house got sold. The neighbors were like, what happened to Bill? And his name was not Bill. Just, he was.
Might have been. But,
Might be
Yeah,
now.
well, I don't know if it was. And because what he did was obviously, it was a federal offense, probably still
Wow.
is today. And
Well, I imagine the police aren't super happy with people interfering with their equipment to stop people.
right.
Are you saying
Yeah.
that part's the federal offense, or doing these like weird frequencies?
I think the fact that you were jamming radar and
True.
speeding and
I knew it wasn't
whatever.
great. I didn't know it was a federal offense.
yeah.
I don't have a
I
jammer
believe
in my
so.
car.
Jake's just like, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
I got to go work on something in my car.
I'm just going to blur my face from here on out.
Yeah.
None of my
So-
cars go fast enough to need a radar jammer. So
Yeah,
let's be
right.
real.
So yeah, that we just hope. I guess the assumption is that making sure we're still recording. That I hope anyway that
We
if
all
he did
panic.
get arrested and whatnot, that he's hopefully he took all that knowledge and he's using it for our armed forces and good stuff and making
Yeah, maybe they scooped him and they
cool
were like, "We need you
electronic
on
stuff for
side."
our guys. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of a interesting little story in the small Midwest town that
It's awesome.
The hobbyist creates this thing and then he's scooped up by.
That's crazy.
actually just,
House
like, literally
sold,
blacklist.
gone. It was
Yeah.
not. It was just him and this, just a single guy in the neighborhood there, and
That's so
he's
crazy.
gone. And like I said, I hope he's doing kind of a cool story. But
That is kinda
but
cool
The more you
fun.
talk about it, the more I feel like it's you.
I'm
Like,
still
somewhere
here.
in the middle.
We are at.
Yeah. You're undercover.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
So
That's
anyway,
so
that was
cool.
the general. I generalized it a lot for obvious reasons. I
Everybody
guess.
said, also because you don't want Suburbans to show up here for sharing too much about the
right.
story.
Yeah,
so.
we're here where we are in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Wow, really glad we're at Tyler's house right now, guys.
Right.
Tennessee.
Address
I
is
was like, thanks a lot, Dad. In Tennessee. Yeah.
Cool. No, thanks for sharing that story. I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like we could just have you on consistently and talk about just crazy stuff because we haven't even touched on like crazy dirt bike stories. I forgot about the
there's
Blazer
some
thing. Like
neat things to share about.
we'll have to touch on
that.
those later because we've got some fun. We could talk about our go-kart story at some point.
Yeah, we
too.
should get
Absolutely.
some. Maybe in a future episode, next couple ones, we'll do like an off-road edition kind of thing.
There we go.
That'd be fun.
And because I know I'm talking
Yeah.
about building my truck in like a pre-runner or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
I can
and-
talk about Rock Run real quick. That
Yeah.
area that off roads can go.
And I can talk about the one time I cried in the Jeep when we tried to take it off road.
His Jeep?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, back
Up
behind
the hill behind the
Yeah.
shop.
Remember?
Did you cry?
Yeah.
Did you cry?
Yeah.
Dude, okay, we got it. All
All right, let's save these notes.
Yeah,
for
we'll
next
get in
time.
there.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
write
That's a
that
good
down.
start for that.
So we said we wanted to talk about frankenbuilds next.
Yeah.
Some of these abominations, like I couldn't find the one, but the Miata Supra, like the Mazioda Supriata can't hurt you, kind of a thing. And then it was like a meme about it.
It's not real.
But you found some pretty crazy ones that you wanted to
sure.
share
If
with
you
us.
guys want to open this thing up. Oh, let me do a video here first.
Which one are we doing?
The Bimarola.
Okay.
The Bimmer
So I'm gonna open up the video. I'll play it for you.
Oh, what is this?
Don't look at it yet.
I'm gonna look at yours.
Here, yeah,
Oh,
just look
video
at my
first.
screen.
I should
I've
read
wanted
it.
a BMW i8 ever since I was 12 years old. So I worked and I worked and I worked until one day in 2019 when I realized I was too poor to afford one.
So that's the intro. So look at this thing. It's a.
Oh no.
He says it's a 2008 BMW 1M sedan Corolla edition.
One.
Oh, no.
Corolla edition.
What?
Oh
So
man.
it's a rebadged Corolla.
Rebadged.
Oh my god.
Dude, I like the chart, like this much Corolla. And then
Yeah.
BMW.
BMW.
So did he just put the grills in the
Yeah, they're zip tied in. If you zoom in, they're zip tied in
Look at that.
in
Dude.
true rebadge fashion.
I like his Euro plate on the front.
right Bimarola. Yeah.
Oh my
This
gosh.
thing's
crazy.
nuts. So I saw this thing like going viral on, I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok or something like that. And I'm like, there's no way this is, I thought it was Photoshopped at first, right? Because it's got like the halo headlights
Right.
and like all of that
Right.
stuff, like E46
Nice.
grills and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just ridiculous.
Dude,
You know what
why?
I think I hate about this the
I just
most
accidentally liked it.
is the fact that I don't hate it. Like
No.
it actually
No.
kind of works.
No.
Okay, but like
Uh.
compared to a normal Corolla, and then you have that, like it looks better than a Corolla. No,
I don't know,
Just
man.
stop.
I mean,
Stop.
we can hate it as much as we want, but isn't this kind of what Toyota just did with the Supra?
No.
It was foreshadowing.
This guy was like, "Hey,
Oh boy.
they just did it, so I mean, why can't I do it?"
dude, they just copied his homework.
Unpopular. We'll take a quick detour here. I don't actually think I've thought that the Corollas they have the body kits like the Corolla S or something from
Yeah.
that year. I don't think they look that bad. Like I think
They're
a
not
lot
bad.
of there's a lot of Toyotas that I think their body design looks really good, but
Mhm.
then they just make them into like economy cars. Like they don't have much
Yeah.
fun with
Yeah.
them. They just
Well,
kind of
here's the thing with them too. I mean, Toyota obviously has a good history of good cars. They have
Yeah.
even the SUVs they make that are pretty cool.
Mhm.
But they've got the Supra. They got the Corolla A86.
Yep.
That was like a super classic car.
Mhm.
Well, they used
And-
to have those like Celica GTSs that were like
Yeah.
rally and stuff.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
And they actually are bringing back all-wheel drive to some of their models too.
Really?
So they've
heard a
got
lot
the
of them, yeah.
new Camry XSE or something like that.
Mhm.
I think it's either a 4-cylinder turbo or a V6.
Okay.
Shiftable automatic, so like paddle shifted.
Yeah.
All-wheel drive.
Mm.
Like it's not that far from an
Yeah.
Audi at that point,
Right.
right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
even looking at the inside of some like the new Avalons and Corollas and
They
stuff,
look
like the
phenomenal.
interior of them are
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, their designing is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make them look super sweet. And there's
Mhm.
people who mod them out and stuff, and
Yeah.
they sound pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I've always thought that like even that year from this Bimarola thing, like that
Yeah.
year of Corolla, I'm like, looks not bad. Like they
It's
did
not a
for
bad-
that year of car. Like all the American cars kind of
Were
looked like the Chevys, and the Dodges and
real
stuff.
bad.
Didn't look
Yeah.
great.
yeah.
But I don't know. Unpopular opinion.
yeah,
you
well, it's
had-
like a really good like first car, for example, right?
Mm.
If you want like, why is that much different than like a Civic, for example, right? So you got like a 5-speed manual. There's front wheel drive. It's a little 4-cylinder. It's going to be super reliable.
Yeah. Well, and for
And-
most people not sitting at this table, front wheel drive is preferred in like
Right.
bad weather and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just like to oversteer.
Yeah, we like to slide around and stuff. So
So you had some other stuff that you wanted to show?
yeah, so if we scroll down in the notes here and we'll
Oh,
put the
okay,
photo up, we have a 1969 Dodge Charger with a
what?
Oh, don't hurt me now.
Honda K20 4-cylinder swap from the.
I'm done.
I think it's a
I'm
K20. it's like unplug this thing. I'm out.
What
I
was
can't do it.
What was he climbs over the table? What was the size of the motor that was in your Charger in
well,
liters?
in liters, a 400. It was the Chrysler 400 I wound up putting in it, so that's a 6.6 liter.
And this is
Yeah.
what?
Or
Yeah, 0.8.
I'm finding
Or
it
is it
right now.
2.0?
2.0.
So you had
So it's
3 of these.
one-third.
It's the
a little more than 3 of these.
it's the beefier Honda motor for these
Oh,
4
yeah.
cylinders. This was out of the S2000, I want to say.
Okay.
Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, so they're fitting this. It's actually
Wow.
a 68 Charger, fitting this little engine in there.
Why?
Why?
Well, they can
Well,
make
that's
a
my
lot of
question.
power.
Maybe we should, instead of frankenbuilds, we should just call this Y.
But why?
But why though? So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely
insane.
interesting. I don't know if they're going to go. This is early in the build. I just got this screenshot.
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
know if they're going to be
Yeah.
doing like a full like JDM kind of look on the Charger, which would kind of hurt.
I
Oh,
mean,
that would really hurt.
Could though. Like
Hmm?
if they did it right,
It could
that
be
could look
it could
really
be kind of
nice.
cool.
Yeah, it could look really cool.
There's a fine line that they got to balance
Yeah,
to pull that off.
really
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
That-
can you just see the Charger pulling, or like say you see it at a car show, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's interesting. It's got like BBS wheels. Like I don't usually see that on Chargers, right?
Yeah,
And it's got like
right.
Alcantara interior, like
Yeah.
whatever stuff like that. And then they're like, dude, pop the hood, man. Let's see what you got. Like I'm assuming you've got a Hellcat under here, right? You know, most old Chargers they swap in
Right.
like a cool new motor. Pops it up, and it's like, ying, ying, ying.
I wonder
It's
how
just like-
Dude, so many people would be so
And-
mad.
yeah. I mean, those S2000s though, they can pump some mad horsepower out of those with a big turbo supercharger and stuff.
Yeah.
So it could be pretty cool. Well, let's wait and see. Hopefully, we can bring that back on a later episode.
You,
Be like, okay, it turned out fine, I guess.
you see this big Charger pull up. You're like, oh, it's good BBSs. What's going on? And you just hear this.
Nah.
That actually doesn't.
That actually
sound
sounds nice. Yeah.
Sounds nice, but I would never think
Let's
of
edit
that
in
and
an
then be
audio.
like,
I was-
Not out of
I
a
was hoping
69
it
Charger.
was-
68
Yeah.
Charger, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That sounds pretty good. Okay, good job, Charger swap people.
Yeah. So another one here. If you guys scroll down, just right below that one, pretty sweet modded
Wow.
out Mustang with a big old supercharger. I think they may have installed it wrong though.
Yeah, wait, isn't that the
It's
pulley?
Isn't it
in the
not
front?
hooked up?
it's just glued on the hood.
Wait, what?
Ah, that's
He's got like a
Oh,
modified
man.
horn probably for
Look at
the
That's
sound,
crazy.
supercharger sound. There's no like you look at the intake part on the back or where it's supposed to push
Isn't-
the PSI through. It's just open.
Well, does it? Oh, is that what? Is this a rear? Like it charges out the rear, or is this one that's supposed to go directly on the manifold?
this.
Oh, it's probably right on the
I
man. That's probably the
can't
intake.
tell.
That would be
yeah, you're right. That's
direct
right.
on
The
the
intake.
manifold. Yeah.
It's just glued on the
Good job,
hood.
dude. I can tell by the American flag sticker across the top of his windshield and the green Viper stripes on his side,
Yeah.
just on the hood.
Yeah. Like, you want to race, bro? I'm like, yeah, probably. It's probably a V6 at this point.
Yeah.
If they're gluing a
be honest.
supercharger.
Yeah.
on
Or
the
is that
hood.
4-cylinder that they released?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's not new enough for that. Doesn't
No.
look like.
Yeah.
Dude, so what is this
Eco
last
boost.
thing that you shared?
Okay.
here?
Oh wait, what's
It's
what
hurts
next
me.
on my list? Let's see. Oh, the E30. Did you guys know that BMW made a truck out of the E30? Because I didn't. I don't think they
Not.
did either. But somebody
I
did.
think BMW's learning of it right now.
Oh my goodness.
So I think this is it looks like a Toyota Tacoma. I want
Yeah,
to
like
say.
an older one.
Yeah, older truck,
Mhm.
which just happens to be the same size, unless they did like the body
bod-
work is pretty amazing.
It actually is
It
really
is.
nice.
It's
Pretty
that
good,
top
yeah.
line. You can tell the bottom line doesn't line up off the door there. It's got to
Right.
be like an old, what are
Let's go
those
to the
Tundras
fender.
or whatever?
Yeah. So they just got the E30.
That's awesome.
Like
Well, look how good the fender blends with the door. There.
It's
Is that-
ridiculous.
I know, I kind
I
of
mean,
like it. It's
I'm not mad.
Well,
It's
because
not the worst
I didn't
thing
even
I've
see
ever
that. Yeah,
seen.
the fender line goes right with the door line.
Yeah, they
The top
blended it
part,
in
yeah.
nice.
That looks really nice.
Well, I've been.
Hmm.
This is funny because I actually really like this because recently, I know why it's a thing, but like when we're selling our sport wagon, we're gonna
Yeah.
get into like an SUV, and then we want to get a truck as like the fourth car, I was looking at stuff and there's like Toyota trucks, there's Dodge, there's Chevy, stuff like that. And I'm like, man, why can't I find anything European? Like, there's no European
Yeah.
trucks at all. Nothing in the States.
Not
I know there's
here.
In the
stuff.
States,
There's
yeah.
stuff worldwide, and I get that that's like what the market demands here. So there's no reason in like the early
Mhm.
2000s that they were importing trucks and stuff. But it was weird to me because like I never really had given that much thought until I was looking for it. I'm like, oh, it literally is like an F-150, a Chevy 1500, or a Dodge Ram 1500, and then like Tundras.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
That's it.
Tacomas.
And there's
Yeah.
that weird
Yeah.
like Honda thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Honda.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
forgot
called.
what
Cut off
they call it,
minivan?
the Ridgeline. The Ridgeline.
Yeah. I want one of the Volkswagen ones though. I think they're in Mexico.
Kills
Yeah.
me.
Those are because they're not even in Canada, right? Aren't they
No.
just in
Yeah,
Mexico?
just
But
Mexico.
yeah, they got the
And they're
diesel 4Motion.
Coolest
Yeah.
freaking truck.
They're
Yeah.
They're
cool.
pretty cool.
I told
yeah.
Chloe, I was like, we should just get a ticket.
They
and
look
go.
just like a Jetta.
Yeah.
But then they got a truck bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It's
if my
so
car.
weird to look at.
Well, have
Yeah.
you seen? There are
Well-
kits for these that like do they call them Utes? Is that there like UTE? I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
so.
It's like
yeah.
the kit
Yep.
that people do it to like they do it to Mark IV Jettas all the time, where they'll like put the truck bed in the back. Like I've seen they've done it to
I've
like
seen
944s and that. It,
Yeah.
like basically El Caminoizes like anything.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Make your truck car thing.
Oh,
yeah, they're
I
pretty cool.
wouldn't want to. Oh no.
This thing is neat. Oh, speaking of, this is the greatest segue. I didn't even plan this at all. Speaking of truck cars, so I have the opposite. So this is adding a truck bed to a car, right? That's what this BMW is.
Y'all remember that?
Huh?
The Volkswagen Rabbit truck.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
from
right.
like,
We did get
that's
one.
like the
Yeah.
proper version of that car.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, those are rad. That would be if those had any
1980.
power at all. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Probably has more horsepower than Tyler's first car, though.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So on this truckizing cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys go to that link that I shared in there, the 24 hours of lemons.
Oh,
one,
yeah. Let's pull that up.
Yeah, check it out. So there's
24
something to
hours of
scroll
lemons.
to that you can't unsee. All of them you can't unsee.
Oh,
They're pretty rough.
wow.
Like the one. Do you see the one in the center? The wagon one
The
with the Oreo. Okay, so scroll down one,
Wait, it's
2, 3, 4.
It's a
Okay,
red wagon.
Why?
So go to the fourth one.
What?
It's beneath this truck that says goat.
Wait, goat,
Oh, my gosh.
So this
dude.
is
I
a
didn't even recognize what that was.
1983 Porsche Chevy stepside.
A Porsche Chevy steps. Come on. What in the world?
That's
Got a
amazing.
Chevy V8 swap. It is a 944 inside, so they did like the V8 swap, like a lot of guys do, but apparently went a little bit too far. They didn't know you could just do the engine, and they did the entire front clip of the truck.
Look how they cut the
Look
hood.
at the rear side's wood and the wood spoiler in the back.
yeah.
What
Look at
in the
the
world?
so they cut the hood in the middle because I'm assuming they had to shrink the width.
Yes,
For
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
oh,
then they
yeah.
Oh, I
cut
never
the bumper
noticed that
too.
before.
It's actually really well done.
No.
Surprisingly.
Is it bad that I kind of love it?
Yeah, yeah.
I legitimately would drive this.
Now you want to
I mean, I
Frankenbuild-
would finish
Look at,
it.
Guys,
Like-
zoom in on that picture. Look at how happy the little like that looks like a GTST or something is behind him. It's like
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some pretty.
Right.
If you scroll through the one right below it, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
man.
Like a Datsun 240.
I think the one below it is a
that's
Volvo.
that's an E36.
Wait, what are you
Yep.
talking about?
Oh,
We're
The one right
Oh.
below with the camper bed.
No, it's what?
Yeah,
That
that's
is-
an E36 for sure.
No way.
Hey, bud,
That's
It
an
is, you're right,
E36
you're right.
sedan.
Wow.
are you sure?
They bumped up the hood to make it fit the
Mhm.
Cadillac or whatever.
Oh,
That is-
Whatever grill that is.
Yeah.
Tyler, scroll further. There's a F40 clone.
An F40 clone.
It's called the WTF 40.
Oh my goodness. I see it.
The
Yeah.
Rotson Racing. Wait, is that built on a?
Datsun 210 ZX.
Oh,
I don't. I
dude.
think that's the wrong name.
Grandpa
That's gotta
Hol-
be
no, that's
wrong.
not a typo. It says.
Keep scrolling down. There's
Wow.
Grandpa Holly's car hitting a corner hard.
Yeah, dude.
What is it?
Bro, I want to be a part of this so bad. This is awesome.
I kind of want that.
This is great.
WTF 40.
Wow.
Yeah, I forget what the rules are for this race, but there's not a lot.
I can't imagine there are many.
Oh, there's a
What's with the
Passat.
Cadillac carrying the dragster?
Yeah, I just saw
That's
that.
darn
pretty funny.
garlic.
Scroll further. There's a 911
see
with
the
a
re-
Passat back end on
Yeah, I just saw that.
it, or Passat front end on the back.
Dude, this is like that. This is like that photo. Wait, we
That
gotta
looks
add
so
this into the
backwards.
podcast. This is doing the exact same thing to me as the truck that you sent with the V8 and the bed
backwards
and the
truck.
backwards
The
truck.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
perfect for Frankenbuild.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
totally
yeah, yeah.
forgot about that.
Pull that
Let me
up.
pull that up.
That thing was confused. I showed it to Chloe's dad. We were over there, and I showed it to him, and he's like, well, "What are we looking at right now?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't
Dude,
know.
It messes
It
with
was
your
weird.
mind so
It takes
much.
Yeah.
you. It took a few pictures to figure out what was actually happening.
Yeah,
there.
same. That's
Well,
exactly what happened here because I definitely
hot,
thought this was
hot,
going the
hot.
other way.
For the exhaust.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's some wild stuff in here.
I kind of
Oh,
want to. So,
really?
what do we got to do to enter this race?
There's okay. I think there are like rules as far as here we go. Prices and rules.
Yo,
One time
Oh, no.
entry is
We're doing this, aren't we?
$14.30.
I think it's happening.
If we can get some sponsorship.
Yeah.
Additional drivers. Rules. Here we go. Racing is exceedingly taxing, both physically and mentally. The longer you remain in the car, the more intense this taxation may be. Okay. Eligibility. Here we go. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. Entry limit to mass-produced four-wheeled vehicles legal for U.S. highway use at the time of their manufacture. Vehicles must be acquired and prepared for a maximum of $500.
No kidding.
They must meet all safety standards. Vehicle's original manufacturer stated curb weight may not exceed 4,200 pounds. Individual waivers may be granted. Just don't ask about Peterbilt's, Zambonis, sidecars, or golf carts again. We already said no. Dude, this is nuts. So all those cars were under $500 prepared.
Some of them I feel like I have a hard time believing that.
Right.
Like I see that Odyssey that's
what
down
they
there.
gotta-
Like, yep, for sure. And then
They've got to have, maybe they had a lot of the parts themselves already. And I think I've listened to another podcast on something or watched a video on this.
Yeah.
The $500 does not include safety equipment, I think.
that makes sense.
So like $500 is for the car prepared.
You'd
just
be
to
there
make
in
things
just
come
personal
home.
gear. I mean,
Yeah.
a seat.
So like the seats, because everyone's got roll cages. Like a decent roll cage is probably going to run you more than $500.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think the safety equipment is not included in that because they're like,
Okay.
hey, bring your real crappy car, dude. Check out this 2-door Cherokee.
I know
That
that's what I'm.
is so cool.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I actually really like it.
What about the 77 Rolls with the Viper engine?
It has a
What?
Viper
How
engine?
did they prepare that for under $500? Yeah,
What?
look at
I gotta find that one out. Where is that on the list?
Oh,
is it the rusty one, the white one?
All right, why don't
number
we?
789?
You went farther than I
I
did.
think I went further down. Yeah, well, yeah, past the
Whoa.
Ford.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and then right below that, it has the hood off with the Viper engine.
Oh, how? What? Okay.
How'd they
What?
prepare that for $500?
Put that down as a dream build.
It's just all grandfathered.
Here we
in.
go.
That's awesome.
The whole thing came off remarkably and is assembled with care and precision almost never seen in Lemons. Does it stretch the $500 limit? Yeah, probably a bit. Does anyone care? Not anyone who matters. It's singularly the wildest build we've seen in years.
Oh boy.
And the ripping V10
Uh,
still hucked a connecting rod out of the block after 3 laps. Oh my gosh.
all right, why don't we go through
All
this
right.
whole article? Let's save the video, the pictures of the cars that we like the most, so we can put those up on our Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I like it.
Put
I like
up,
that.
There you
the
go.
craziest ones we saw in here. And I think we should seriously consider getting into something like this because $500 budget, we can all swing that. Like that would be really fun to build one of
Yeah.
those. Like just
We
the
all put $125 in and we're there.
There you go.
just for the comedic value of building one of these.
Yeah.
And we can do like a vlog video or something
Yes.
like that and put it up
Yes.
of us
Sure, we
racing
can
this
find a
thing.
wrecked something or other.
Dude, we could
just-
put that engine that you have in it.
Yeah. Got the
Commit.
M20.
Dude, we'll finally do a cheap eBay turbo build on it.
Oh, I've been
There
wanting
you
to do
go.
that so bad.
And then
I
our
would
goal
love to
for
do
the
that.
dude, our goal for the race
Just
is just to
overboost
blow
it
up
and
the
see how
turbo.
long it lasts.
Well, we talked about too.
we just have you have like
one
5
gear.
backup turbos, like $50 turbos. It's like
Throw
each
another
lap
one
it
in.
blows.
We just put quick disconnects on
Dude,
them. We're
it's a
like,
hot swap
it blew.
turbo.
We knew it was gonna do that.
Right.
We need fuel, so we
Right.
need a new turbo.
Dude, hot swappable
Oh.
turbos. That'd be so cool.
Have you guys
Hot
seen
swappable.
what'd you just say?
A hot swappable turbo.
That would burn your hands.
Do you know what
I
hot
don't know what you're talking
swappable means?
No,
No.
I'm not sure. no.
Oh, so like hot swappable. That's funny. That's like a tech, like a PC world thing. Hot
Oh,
swappable
so like not
basically is
hot.
like
Gotcha.
servers have hot swappable fans. So like if a fan dies, instead of powering down the server, you just hit a switch. It disconnects the fan. You can just slide a new fan in.
Oh, okay.
So it's called hot
drives too
swappable?
in the RAID system.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't
Gotcha.
have to shut it
Oh,
down.
so you're talking about
So-
swapping the turbo while it's running.
Yeah. So what you do is you do little
So
flaps,
sketch.
Same comment.
cut off
Too
the
hot
vacuum.
to touch.
and then just unbolt it, pop it back in, and then open the flaps.
Yeah, we don't need our
Did you-
fingertips.
Yeah, did you guys? Some dude did that not too long ago, didn't he? He like put it. He got his hand either sucked in or he like purposely like tried to stop the turbo from spinning, like after testing something
No.
on an
Yeah.
engine.
Oh,
Didn't he just
boy.
Like,
just
lost
do
most
it,
of
and then
his
it was
fingers.
like, oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just ate his fingers. Have you guys?
Okay.
I'll find the
Nope.
video. Maybe we'll talk about it later. But there's a video of the Quattro team back in the day. I think it was like in the 80s or 90s. They were doing some super long race and they had to swap out a transaxle on like one of their. It's like an Audi 5000 or something like that.
Mhm.
And they literally pulled over on the side of the road. Like after racing this car, it was like a long road rally, and they pulled over on the side of the road, and like their Volkswagen bus came up behind them with all the parts, and they just pulled out a new transaxle, jacked the thing up on the side of the road, and changed it in like 5 minutes. Like you can
Holy
watch the whole
cow.
thing like in a short period of
Yeah.
time. And I saved it on Facebook. I'll
Let's
find
post
it,
that up
post
when
it.
we find it too.
It was insane because I'm like they have all these. They're wearing guards and stuff, so they don't burn themselves on the exhaust. But it's crazy.
Let's open up the next Franken build.
Yeah, hold on.
The truck.
I just gotta say, I have to say this one. The Scuderia Fartari. It's a 97 Nissan 200 SX with a Porsche 928 front end with Ferrari badges on it.
whoa. Dude, those
Whoa.
side scoops.
This is my favorite. This is the dumbest thing.
Yeah, well,
It's
let's share the link
creepy.
and then let's ask. I want to know what everybody else thinks is the most ridiculous
Yeah.
for this too.
Yeah, send us
Yeah,
your most
yeah.
ridiculous one.
Yeah, this
or
is
or
cool.
if you've seen, this is only 1 year of the
Yeah, they have
lemons, right?
like their like portfolio stuff up top. You can go
Ah,
click through.
There
We'll
you
have to
go.
check it out.
That's so good.
But
So guys, open
That's
up
really
that Instagram link I just posted in there. It is
Just posted.
13,
did
it's from
you-
1320.
that thing is crazy.
This thing still trips me out every
So-
single time I look at it.
It's a what kind of truck is it? Is it a F100 or F150 or something like that?
F-150 looks like.
So they
Yeah.
somehow, and I don't know if this is as simple as just picking up the body and spinning it around and putting it back down and spinning the dash around and stuff, but literally
That's so nuts.
Saturdays are for the burnouts. I love the flag.
I know. I just saw that.
They literally have the truck bed. The whole truck's backwards. The truck is backwards. The engine is in the truck bed, and
Radiator sticking up there.
the radiator's sticking up there.
And like the
The drive
dashboard's on the
wheels-
back of the cab.
Yeah. So the seats are flipped around, so your windshield is actually right behind you here. You're driving
So
backwards.
weird.
I really want to, first of all, see this, and then I'd really love to drive it because it's got to be so trippy. Or
Yeah.
at least see
Yeah.
it driving.
Mhm.
It's got to be crazy.
Well, because think about how far back you're. Like normally you're way in the front of the
Right.
truck, and you have to do that like really
Well,
long.
It looks like it might be a short bed, and the wheelbase is kind of even as far as where you would actually.
you think so?
Yeah.
How is on earth?
And it
is
would
the-
have to be.
wait. Oh.
I mean, it's either a little bit of a dash extension.
Oh no,
in
I
the
get
bed
what you're
there.
saying.
yep.
It'd
But,
be a little different.
You're
But-
sitting so far towards the back of it, though.
Not really though.
Yeah, you are.
You're sitting
Compared
much
to where
farther
you
back than
normally
where
are in
you
a
would
truck?
be. You're not centered at all in the truck normally.
If it was where
Well, I
you
know,
were,
but I'm saying compared to
Yeah,
like
that's true.
most trucks.
You're
no, but where
forward.
you would be in the
couple
truck would
feet
be like
forward.
sitting at the
Yeah.
end of the bed. Like if you sat at the end of the bed against the cab, that's like where you'd normally be in a truck, and you're like another like 3-4 feet back.
So your back would be close to center.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Now,
Yeah.
now it's way closer to the rear wheels.
Yeah.
The new rear
What would that
wheels.
feel like
Right.
driving? What would that even compare to?
It's
What
gotta
would,
be.
anything.
what would
As
everyone
far as
else's
what?
reaction be to that driving?
True.
It's on the
This
highway.
guy's driving back. Wait a minute.
He's I gotta go to the hospital.
You call the cops. This
Yeah.
guy, I don't know what to do. I think I'm having a
Right.
stroke.
Real quick. Okay, so after this, we'll hop into the used car thing.
Yeah.
I
saw those. Aero lights.
Oh, that's
Pop-ups
hilarious.
you can purchase for the top of your truck.
That'd be great on like the top of a hardtop Miata.
They look like
Yeah.
old
Pop-ups
924
and then
pop-up
pop-ups.
lights.
Yes.
Again, sad to say, I kind of like it.
Kinda sweet.
It's kind of cool.
Kind of sweet. If someone can send us where to find these, I would love to buy a pair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For your
real.
truck.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'll put
Yeah.
that
So
on the
cool.
truck. That'd be so
When
cool.
you think about it, like everybody puts the covers in the front of the lights anyway, so they don't get like
Yeah.
rock chips and stuff normally.
Mhm.
Like for trail
Yeah.
lights, guys do that on Jeeps all the time. So this is
Yep.
kind of a genius. Like they're hidden and then they pop up.
Yep.
Imagine doing it with like LED pods now, because it would be such a small. Like
Yeah.
you could have just an array that just hides and then pops up. Like
That's got to be
All
a
right,
thing.
I'm gonna do a read on this on the ad.
Or you could use mine.
Gets
Oh,
you and your mini truck / sport utility or minivan down the road in style. Aerodynamic shape, halogen lights, and proven motor for dependable performance.
What's up?
Aerolight. It's a spoiler by day. It's a light bar by night. It's patented and keeps its lights
You're making
hidden
this
and
up.
protected when not in use. So what are you waiting for?
Available
Available
at
at finer
finer
dealers
dealers.
everywhere.
full size pickup
That's
model now
amazing.
available.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh.
That's awesome. I love spoiler by day, light bar by night. Why didn't they call it spoiler light?
I think I like Aerolight.
I guess that works.
Yeah.
I'm sure spoiler light was in one of the spoiler bright. I'm sure that
Yeah.
was in,
Spoiler bright. Oh,
Oh,
it's
should
the
we-
spoiler bright arrow light.
I'm sure the patent is expired. Should we make our own line of products called the spoiler bright?
Oh man.
That's really funny.
But it's like a lip on the front of the car, and they just dipped on a little bit now that we have
Yeah.
LEDs, and it's like a little LED
Yeah.
light bar.
I've seen
Pretty
some guys have done that on 944s where instead of the pop-ups going all the way, they do like the sleepy eye thing,
Yeah.
and then they have LED bars. They look
Yep.
cool.
I like
That'd be
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was fun. Frankenbuilds, we should go. We should do that regularly. That's good.
For
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
That's a fun topic.
Yeah, send those in. If you guys got some,
Yeah.
you see some crazy stuff on anywhere, really. If you see it at a
Yeah.
car show, see it driving, or just see it online, you can send all of that stuff to thirdpedalpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
That's the correct email, right?
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll check it and anything Anything that's shared, we'll talk about it. On
And
the
third
next
is
episode.
spelled out THRID.
Wow,
THIRD.
dude.
Maybe Google it first.
Yeah, the same name as the podcast. It's that at gmail.com.
That at Gmail. Yep.
There you go.
That
Yep.
3RD.
Yeah,
That's what I was
and
saying.
it's not the Third Pedal Podcast. It's just
Just Third Pedal.
podcast
Yep.
at gmail.com. You said that. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So we've all have extensive experience with researching used cars, purchasing new cars. So
Don't ask mom. The list is too long.
so next we're going to kind of talk about what, tips and tricks we've learned along the way, some of the stuff that you've taught us to look out for. Because there's been plenty of cars that I've been like, Dad, you don't understand. I got to buy this today. And you're like, trust me, there's going to be another better one. And there always is.
That
As
was the
frustrating as it
best
is.
advice to shopping for
Yeah.
cars. And now I take that into anything.
Yeah.
Is I just hear you in the back of my head, like, it's not the last one.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
going to be another one.
Right.
All right. Like,
Yeah.
don't lose your mind and like need to buy this thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that we all followed that with our first cars. I think we talked about that in the first
I
episode.
think
Like
we all did not follow that.
all of the red flags that come up, right? And we're like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I'm going to buy
Yeah, it
this
took
car.
me like
Yeah.
27 cars to learn that.
Yeah. Like, it comes with time.
Right.
Yeah. So with that experience, we've all,
Awkward silence.
Hey, you got your chain little clampy things like hanging off.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that way. There you go.
Yeah.
Got you, bro.
you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I can take it from there.
Okay.
But yeah, with all of the purchasing lemons and overlooking issues and stuff and trying not to fall in love in the first place, like I'm in the used car market right now. I'm selling our wagon. We're gonna be getting like an SUV. So there's like a lot of thoughts or like a lot of pieces as far as like figuring out what the next car should be, looking up like how reliable things are, things like that. Do you guys have any like go-tos or any like definite things that you need to do before purchasing a used car? Because I know a lot of people kind of seem to just go into a dealer and like they'll make a deal
Mhm.
that day. They kind of know they want an SUV. They'll let people talk them into whatever they want.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I obsess over like every detail on everything, and
For
I'll
sure.
know every trim level at every model I'm interested in,
Yeah.
and like it's not that that's healthy. I feel like I take it too far, but do you guys have any like go-tos, any needs that you guys have to do before purchasing a used car? What does that look like for you?
Well, I'm the same way. So I'll do like research and
Yep.
find out exactly make, model, year range, trim level, color, like all of that stuff
Yep.
that I want down. And then just find anywhere within like a 200-mile radius
Yep.
that has something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, I like to find, especially buying from a dealer, I like to find at least like 3 or 4 who have a
Mhm.
similar thing in a similar price range.
Yeah.
Negotiations are a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, the guy 2 miles that way has got the same car.
Right.
It's got 10,000 less miles.
Right.
And he's asking like roughly the same price.
Mhm.
So what can you do for me? That kind of stuff. And I found that's been helpful, just knowing exactly what I want. Because otherwise, you're like you said, you're just going to the dealership kind of blind. You're like, I
Right.
know I want a car, or I know I want an SUV.
Right.
And you kind of let them talk you into whatever.
Yeah, because they're literally trained to get you to the next bracket. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Right.
that's what they're trying to do. So like
Yeah,
if you
right.
don't know what's important, and they have like nice names for all the, like the Subarus with the eyesight package and all this other stuff. And you're
Right.
like, yeah, I don't want to hit a car and stuff. Like,
Right.
that's good. And like, so like if you don't know, yeah, I totally agree. Like I think I've learned the most on, because like I've only our Jetta is the newest thing that I've ever had. Everything else is
Mhm.
old. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is like to try to figure out what the factory options were that I might want, because it's way more
Yeah.
expensive to put those in afterwards than it is
Yeah,
to
Totally.
buy something. and
Especially
think,
buying like
"Oh,
a
I'll
10-year
upgrade it."
plus older
Yeah.
used car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If there's some cool factory options or stuff like that it's
Right.
got, yeah, much cheaper to just buy them
Right.
used.
Yeah.
Like that with it already installed than
Right.
trying to add it on.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even though that makes the search harder, because like I find that a lot where like, I mean, even like when I was looking at your S6s and stuff again, and it was like I'd find one and I'm like, well, it doesn't really have the interior I want, but I guess I could find a black interior. Like it doesn't really have this. And
yeah.
like
That's
with
a
that
dangerous
kind of
game.
stuff, it's like,
That's yeah.
it's like you just gotta wait and not get attached to that first one, because like you said, there's always going to be another one. But I
Mhm.
think that's
Yeah.
hard, because it's like, especially once you've done the research and then you find the car and it's not the car, but like you go
Yeah.
and look at it and you're like,
Yeah.
It's close though.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, but I could get this one, and
Yep.
like it's a difficult.
And there's like, you
Yeah.
got to figure out too what stuff you're willing to compromise on.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
know for my Audi, for example, I wasn't willing to compromise on the year range,
Mhm.
because they're very similar from 2015, 2017. They changed over like the facelift model,
Mhm.
had the new lights, new technology. CarPlay is one thing I wasn't willing to
Mhm.
compromise on. Older cars, like
As
you swap
should,
that
it's
in,
amazing. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not that hard to get swapped in. What was that total, like $200-300?
Yeah, it's like 3 something.
So that's something to keep in mind too. If you're looking at, especially an older car, maybe more than 10 years old,
Yeah.
probably not going to have like the
Right.
smart CarPlay, Android
Right.
Auto, stuff like that.
Right.
But if it's got a regular radio, that stuff isn't all too expensive. And there's places like radio places, Best Buy, places like that will sell them to you and install them for pretty inexpensive. So you can get if you can get a good deal on something because it doesn't have some of those special features, you might be able to add that stuff down the road. Maybe it won't add a ton of value, but might be easier to sell down the road if you're selling it then.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I will say CarPlay will change your life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah, I got Dad hooked on it.
I have no idea.
You don't have it right yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yet, right? I think that's what I meant to say.
No, I haven't allowed myself to do it yet because I don't want to get addicted to it quite yet because I can't afford it quite yet. So
yeah,
I'm trying
you
to
don't
be
want to
careful.
dive too much into it. If you're like, I really don't want to spend the money on this yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, because
let's
then I
not
know
look
once
into
I
it.
have it, I won't be able to live without it.
Yeah.
And I'm just not at the spot where I can like just do that.
And then it's got to
whenever
go
I
in
want.
every car.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
Right.
what I'm trying to not do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have enough expensive hobbies.
Yeah,
But
but
don't. We'll throw a few more on there.
Yeah,
we'll get you.
yeah, right.
An important feature too is you mentioned this aftermarket car parts and especially radios and things. It's often, depending on where you think you might resell it or trade it, it's actually better for the car's value to have the stock, the factory stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, if you want CarPlay, find the factory CarPlay.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll affect the value a lot. Quite sometimes. If
Totally.
you go
Yep.
extreme and
Yeah.
put some seriously, high end equipment
Right.
in, obviously that could change.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as far as highly customized and actually having value.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you don't want to buy put the cheap CarPlay thing in a later model.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there's a
Less than
certain
10-year
year
old, like you
range,
said.
right?
Yeah.
You're talking about like a 99 Civic Si that you want to put some 12s in the trunk. You need a big speaker
Right.
system for. That
Yeah,
might add some value because
Yeah.
the stereo probably wasn't that great.
Mhm.
But like, I think you're probably coming from your truck, right? Because
Yeah, I
you
was
had like
gonna
a
say,
factory
100%.
like you
for
said,
it.
less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
And they had the option.
Yep.
You really,
I think
if
that's a
if you
huge
think
break
you're going to
point.
go to a
Yep.
dealer in particular, the dealer is going to down value if you put aftermarket stuff in versus
Right.
what was
Yep.
factory available.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
who knows how well you can solder, right?
Right.
You
right.
mess up the
Yeah.
wiring and stuff.
Yeah.
We've all
And
had
there's
messed up
usually-
radios that.
Well, and think
Fitment
about
in the dash, things like
Right.
that. It
Yeah,
never,
that's what I
never
was-
quite looks right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how integrate. I mean, even we were talking about it with yours because when you were putting the radio in your truck, the new
Mhm.
touchscreen, like that, it's like the air conditioning system and everything all in
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah, it's not
all
just
there.
a radio.
Yeah.
Your dash bezel, new heating controls, new heating sensor
Right.
to make that entire thing work.
Right.
New harness. It's a really
Yeah.
more involved than just swapping a radio.
It's
and
like
the, and the controls for the vehicle, the options
Right.
for heat and
Yeah.
options for the what the mirrors do and what the horn
Right.
and everything does actually go through the radio. So it's got to be the factory radio.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
And you've always been really good at this because specifically, I think you've done it with everything, but with your truck, I mean, you even did it with your Corvette, getting specific like wheels that were
Yeah.
like other Corvette sport spec wheels. But on your
from the right year range.
yeah,
the
but
right-
your truck, you've always done it. Like
stage.
tried to find like OEM parts or try to find the actual bolt. Like you didn't just get a muffler and figure out how to fix it in. Like you got the like the factory upgrade option or something premium for it.
right. Find out what Mopar puts in it for performance.
Yeah.
And then go find
Mhm.
that part.
You're not
yeah.
making like my zombie wagon.
Right.
So when did you start doing that, or what kind of made you switch to doing that, or has this just always been the way that you've done it?
No, I definitely was learned, over the years. And just that really just experience and having enough interactions with enough dealers in a larger, just that sheer volume of experience.
Yeah.
And finding out what they really value
Yeah.
and going into it that way. You mentioned tips about what you're going to go buy used, and that's a thought. Try to think beyond obviously budget.
Yeah.
And try to stick to that.
Yeah.
And not be disappointed. Find the first one. It's not quite right. Just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said,
Yep.
and then, but yeah, if you can't, think about, is there some practicality to it, or is this completely a fun vehicle?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do both occasionally.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do
but-
right now.
But yeah, if it's going to be a dealer trade-in ever, if that's a possibility, then think about those things. Like
Yeah.
even the OEM radio bezel and stuff for the truck I kept.
Yeah.
So when you do go to trade it in, you can hand it all over. Even when I did the Mopar mud flaps, that they made nicer Ram mud flaps, I kept the original
Yeah.
fender trims and things. So
Gotcha.
that always helps with the value.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And even if you sell it used or trade it in,
Yeah.
you're handing over all the OEM parts that the vehicle came with.
Yeah. I've always done
Um,
that. I have like the box of all
helps
the
with the
factory
value.
parts that got pulled off, and
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Yep.
I think one thing that no one said, and this probably comes from more of my experience of buying very, very cheap stuff that's used, is I think probably the thing I look out for the most is maintenance records.
Totally.
Some sort of. If it's someone like an enthusiast who's selling the car, I usually do like a good amount of Facebook stalking to make sure that like they've owned either that car before, or showing them like doing a lot of work on the car, or showing some sort of knowledge of cars in general. Like I saw a dude selling like an M3 for like 7,000.
Okay.
And but then as the car before that was like a pretty old, really rough Civic. And when I was trying to talk to him about the car, he just had like no clue what he was talking about. And I was like, hey, for an M3, that's going to be a money pit.
Those high maintenance cars, you got to take a lot better care of them.
Especially the older cars, because most of them are really high mileage. So then you have to make sure certain things are done. Like my E30, I'm like genuinely pretty sure it's had 2 oil changes in its life when I bought it. Because when I brought it to the shop and changed it, he's like, hey, when's the last time this had his oils changed? I was like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, it was a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
He was like, I'm blown away you made it here. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that brings me to another point too I wanted to talk about. So for buying a used car, not from a dealer, private party, whether it's Facebook Marketplace, or I really like Facebook Marketplace for like you said, the ability to kind of stalk the owner.
Yeah.
You can see like, hey, like I saw one M3, E36 M3, and his cover photo was him doing a burnout in the car. Like, so I know you didn't treat this car very nice. I mean, you can do burnouts here and there and stuff, but if that's like the main thing you're showing off, you're probably beating this thing pretty hard.
It's a little one-wheel burnout.
Yeah, right. So I always ask them to don't drive the car before I get there. Like at least for whatever 8 hours before. If it's their daily driver, it's sometimes a little bit tough with setting up an appointment. But don't drive the car, don't warm it up. Like
you want to start it cold.
I want to hear the cold start. I want to like listen to the motor, listen for any weird ticks, bumps. Like I know you taught us like the screwdriver trick, right?
Yeah,
like hold the screwdriver.
If you are hearing an engine noise, use a rod or a
let it travel up,
and you can listen a little bit further into the engine and hear any weird sounds. All cars have their like ticks, and you hear valve ticks and different stuff like that. But if there's a real,
even the first time you get in a diesel and you're like, I think the whole engine's falling apart.
Right,
that's weird,
especially an older one.
Another big piece is I think before you go look at the car, Google like if you can find it on like Audi Zine, like the forum, or go to the forums and find a buyer's guide for your generation car, because you've got owners who say, hey, whatever it is, this part went out of my car, this is what it sounded like before. Hey, if you're gonna go pick up a car, if it's got over 100,000 miles, look for these things. Or a lot of guys like because on URS 6s and stuff, even like those all have, like, personally, a high mileage car doesn't really scare me as long as it's above like 160 or so, because I feel like everything that was gonna break did already.
Right.
So
you want to pass the point where the major stuff was replaced.
But like those 110s and stuff, like you're getting close to like timing belt intervals and stuff like that. But there's been a lot, like when we were looking at our sport wagon, there was a couple checks that they had people do for the DSG transmission specifically to see, because those are so picky on that like 40,000 mile interval. That you can check the Carfax reports are kind of helpful, but they don't really include a lot of those maintenance. Like usually you see up to the like 30K
serviced.
And
then that's it.
And it doesn't really detail it. So you always want like an enthusiast who will say it, but for sure looking up those intervals from like a buyer's guide to say, hey, like do this to the steering wheel and try this on the column and look underneath and pull on this rod and see. They give really good advice as far as like what to look for when you're out there checking a car out.
Or generally
Carfax, though, just real quick, you said the thing about you go to a dealer and then one dealer's got a car for 4,000 less than the next dealer, and it seems to be the same. It's within 10,000 miles and whatnot, but you kind of do get what you pay for. Especially in later model things, and the Carfax is good for a lot of things, really. I mean, and especially multiple owner. Because it'll reveal, this thing's had 10 owners. Why is that?
Right.
And it will say, if one of the owners was a rental or leasing company. And so, those are things to look out for too. You don't want a rental that was beaten in California and now it's in the Midwest for some reason. And those are typically 4,000 or 5,000 cheaper.
Right.
Because of that history. So,
I think that's the break point. Like if we're talking about buying, like you were looking at those, like the S8s and the S4s and stuff, like you definitely want to know, like an enthusiast has owned this for a while and you're buying private party. You need them to you need to show up and see like stickers from some big names in like European maintenance, or you need to you know, see some activity. You know, you saw them on the forums or whatever. You mentioned something about the S4 page, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm on there too. And like, you want that level of comfort. If you're at a dealer, you totally want that. You want to see like, this car's not been used for crazy stupid stuff. It hasn't bounced around. It doesn't have weird like accident reports. They will show you the Carfax, because you should always get one if you're at a dealer. Like there are a lot of those things to check for. But
or if it's private party, just like at least receipts or some sort of proof of maintenance to some of that stuff, because like especially with the S4s, with their backwards V8s and the chains, like that was something I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing. And then when I was looking at buying that car, I think you actually told me like, hey, make sure you're looking up like what are common problems, because in my mind I was like, it's an engine, it goes like it, you know, it's basic maintenance, like as long as there's oil change and stuff, but nothing else should be a problem. And then looking them up, you know, it turns out it's like if you have a dealership replace that timing chain, it's $5,000 because they have to like disassemble the entire front end, pull the engine. So it's just like I'd say probably my biggest tip for buying a used car is, at least the thing I do every time, is as soon as I see, I always just look at cars. I just look at like what I want. So I usually just filter like all-wheel drive, automatic, and then just hit go. So right now my thing is, as soon as I see a car that's like a brand that I'm not familiar with, the first thing I do is I go to Google and I search for that. I search for the car reliability, and then I open another tab and say the car, like the model year and everything, and then common problems. And then I just look for everything to look out for.
Keyword all recalls too. You look for
recalls,
look for factory recalls.
So I just always check for those things.
And then you can ask the sellers about that stuff too. Cause you're like, hey, I know these have common problems with their timing chains going down. When's the last time you changed timing chain or stuff like that? And figure out what, and then you'll reveal what they know about the car, and B, if they've actually done that stuff. They're like, oh, timing chains, I didn't know that was an issue. Maybe a red flag.
Exactly. I'll almost always open with that. Like with every S4 I've reached out for, I always open with, if it's around 100,000 miles, I always open with, hey, was the timing chain replaced yet? And then I've had a couple guys reply with, what's a timing chain? And I'm like, ha, whoa, not buying that.
That's when you send your low ball.
Yeah, I'll give you $1,000. That's, I think it's important too. Like when you're buying a used car, like I bought my wagon knowing that it had not had the recent DSG service. It was a piece of negotiation, but I knew like there are certain things too when you're buying used cars. Like it's not gonna have everything. Like you're gonna have to do some of it. It's just kind of deciding. It's going into the process educated enough to know, like, I'm willing to do these things. Like it's had the timing chain done. I know it hasn't had brakes in a while. It needs that. I know the tires are kind of getting old. Those I'm willing to bite off, but like this I'm not. Or like you're willing to do the timing chain thing and you're looking for a bigger project. It's just like being aware of that kind of stuff going into it.
And being aware of what your limits are on your own too. Because I think we've all bitten off more than we can chew as far as projects go.
I was exactly
so if it's like, oh, it hasn't had the oil changed in a while, like a brake pads probably need to be done. That's a pretty beginner project to do. Changing the oil.
Even like brake lines and stuff, not too bad.
But if you're talking timing chains or like bigger, like spark plug stuff, that stuff's pretty easy.
It's kind of got a rod knock. You're like,
rebuild the whole thing.
Because I think we've all been at the spot where we've seen a car we loved and we're like, oh, the engine's knocking, and then we've all had that thought of like, I wonder, like replacing an engine can't be that hard.
We've all Googled like replacing the rod bearings on whatever we were looking.
My E30, like when I bought that was the 4-cylinder, and so I found the 6-cylinder and bought it because in my mind I'm like, how, like what? It's just an engine.
It's
like,
even a factory thing. Like,
exactly. I was like, you'll just swap
that
it
and play, too bad.
And then that engine never got finished, and the car never saw it. So it's, I think a lot of it's true. Like you have to be able to be like brutally honest with yourself, and that kind of comes with time. But it's like you kind of learn that as you go.
I think that's a big
thing that comes with more experience.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Know your limits.
Like you will, like we teased about the guy. He's probably underneath his BMW working on it, like during one of the episodes at the end. But like that. You're going to get to that point. Like you're going to get where you are in over your head with a car. Like I felt that way with a few different cars, but like where it's like, man, I don't know. Like I definitely bit off more than I can chew, but that's just ammo for the next time you buy something.
Totally.
You just have the next layer of like, oh, I didn't really think about that before. So now I really want to, or, you buy a car and you're like, I really wish I would have gotten this option. It's like, all right, the next time you purchase something, you're going to be that much more careful, but
for sure.
It definitely comes with time.
Or even being realistic with, if you are getting like a project, be realistic with yourself about how long it's going to take for you to finish it.
And budget.
Because like, like with the truck was something that like, I got the truck and I was like, dude, end of summer, this thing's going to be pristine.
How many years ago was that?
2 years. And so like now, like I started getting super overwhelmed and started being like, man, I don't know if maybe I should just sell this. Like, just like, don't worry about it. But now I'm just like, you know what? Like it's It's a family truck. It's a really cool truck. I really like it. I have a cool idea of where I want it to get to, but I'm just realizing now, like, I can't do that to myself where I think I have to have this done in a year.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sometimes that's motivating because if you have a car sitting there like 5-6 years and you still haven't touched it, maybe think about it.
Yeah.
But like I've done little stuff here and there, so I'm just realizing I'm just gonna take my time. I'm gonna enjoy it, not stress about it. Like I'm gonna truly do like this is supposed to be like a hobby truck, so I'm gonna treat it like a hobby. I'm only
There's a big difference between a secondary car like that's for fun. And like, hey, I got to get to work.
Yeah,
right.
It's not,
So like,
it's not a daily driver project.
If it's your daily driver, that's I think more what we're talking about along the lines of. I guess it goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
But especially if you're looking for a daily driver, like something you need to depend on, especially if it's like for you and your family,
right?
Like be super thorough, do those checks,
right?
And we're saying that because we haven't.
Yes.
Yeah. So learn from our mistakes.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So that can be super helpful for making sure you can get around because we've all been stuck on the side of the road, like. Not sure what fluid that is and where it's coming from.
Yep.
And also where to fix it. So,
Dude, I just remember I think we were going to college that one day. We were riding in your Volkswagen. It was like after it jumped. And it was like skipping really bad or it was missing on a cylinder or something. Right. And you were riding and I was like, dude, what is going on with your car? You're like, it's fine. And you like didn't even look at me. You're just driving. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I was like, what's going on? You're like, it's been doing it for a while. It's fine. I don't know what's going on.
Come back to that jumped story later or something.
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't think we talked
about that in the
we breezed over a little bit.
Yeah.
We're at an hour already.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Why don't we cut it here?
Yeah. We had some cool, we were going to talk a little bit about that Ferrari Lotus thing that I sent over via text that I was making fun of, but it's actually like quite legit.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty cool like car news things we wanted to touch on, but I guess we'll get it at.
Let's open that in the next one. Talk about some car news. There's some pretty cool stuff coming up that we want to share.
Cool.
So yeah, those are our tips and tricks for buying a used car. Hopefully you guys got a little smidget of some advice out of this and something that'll a ginch.
What's the main point? Be patient.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this week's episode of the Third Pedal Podcast.
Please like, share with a friend, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or if you'd like the full form podcast, you can watch us here on YouTube or listen on Apple or Spotify.
Thanks again, and we will see you guys on next week's episode.